Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for refusing to waive my alimony because my ex-husband has cancer and can't afford it? My ex-husband, 56M, and I, 52F, got divorced because of his infidelity. He married his affair partner. She was a prostitute 20 years younger than me. As part of our prenuptial agreements, we had agreed I would receive alimony for being a stay-at-home mother. I was a stay-at-home mother for my entire marriage. We had 3 daughters. He never had a problem with paying alimony after our divorce. We had to be friendly to maintain a good co-parenting relationship. My daughters were very hurt in the beginning but learned to forgive my husband and his wife. They make TikToks with her all the time now. He ended up getting cancer, and because he became a big spender and had recently started his own business, the bills have been very hard on him. He and his wife asked if I could waive my alimony payments at least for a little while so that he can pay for his cancer treatments. I see no reason why they can't downgrade their quality of life. They live in a multi-million-dollar house and his wife is decked out in designer clothes and has a face full of procedures. I told them no, and they have been pressing me to waive my alimony payments. They've even made my daughters bring it up. He's called me cold-hearted and said he had been good to me and would have helped me out if I was going through a hard time. Am I the a-hole? Edit, he has early-stage thyroid cancer. It's very treatable. He's not going to die. Top comments. Not the a-hole. That they live above their means isn't your problem. They asked, and you said no. That should have been it, but here's where I really feel you're not at fault. They keep harping after you said no. Then they try to use the kids. That's a seriously low thing to do. Then he calls you names and says how good he's been, after he cheated and it led to divorce. The alimony isn't being good, that's court mandated. He would have helped out, right? Easy to say now. He didn't help you out when he helped himself to another woman. If they really had a money crunch, they can probably sell cars or house or take a loan against the house which they pay back when they downsize the house later, etc. Basically, there are many other avenues before the alimony payments. They probably went for that because it would be the easiest if you just agreed. Not the a-hole. And Jesus, I'm going to assume it's all middle schoolers in the comments because good God. If he truly can't afford it, he can go back to court and try to have it reduced. She is not lazy. She was a stay-at-home mother who would have an extremely tough time getting back into the workforce at this point, because of sacrifices she made for him. He has a multi-million-dollar house, no one needs that. If he can afford it, great. If not, well, he's the one who cheated, knowing there was a clause for alimony in the prenup. Good Lord, Reddit sometimes. Info, have either of you talked to a lawyer? Opie replies. I have. It's very unlikely my alimony payments would be affected. He legally owes a lump sum amount that he pays in installments. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help a friend who didn't invite me to their wedding? For about 11 years now, I've, 37M, been pretty close with, let's call him, John, 38M. We met at a job in my mid-20s and were pretty regular company up until the pandemic, where our hanging out, including a circle of mutual friends, has taken a decline but isn't extinct. John and his partner, let's call her, Jane, 36F, have been together for about 8 years now, engaged for a little under 2 years, both with a child from previous relationships, so they have taken trips with their kids near yearly, and I've been happy to help visit John's, now their, home and check on things, take care of their animals, etc. while they're gone. I've helped them out with other projects/tasks over the years and most recently picked up Jane from the airport returning from a work trip and got her home this past winter during a snowstorm because my vehicle could handle it. Generally, I have been present and helpful on top of our base friendship. About 5 weeks ago, I find out from a mutual friend their wedding is coming up, and invites went out a while ago, everyone in our circle but me invited. As a gay guy, I've experienced being iced out of some of my straight friends' lives and events in ways minor and pronounced, but this one has definitely been something that has had me thinking about my time and energy with people. I decided I would take the hint and begin to distance myself. 3 days ago, John texts me asking if I am around in early to mid-August. I say I am. John asks if I wouldn't mind visiting like I have before to look after the animals and property. I said, sorry, I can't. He calls to talk about it. We run through the same conversation, polite but a bit tense, so I finally say, I just won't be visiting your home. After a moment of silence, I bring up that I'm disappointed that I appear to be the only person in our group of friends not invited to his wedding, and that I can't be helping like I have before if I'm just a background friend at this point. I wrap up the call positively and sincerely with me wishing them a good wedding and trip, and that maybe we can grab drinks soon. Jane reaches out 2 days ago sending follow-up texts saying John is upset about what I said and with her because she made the final calls about friend invites, and that I am taking this the wrong way, there is only so much capacity and that the others in our friend group have partners that took up space. She adds that she hopes I'll change my mind and help out them out because it would put John's mind at ease. I'm not entitled to the company of others or invitations to anybody's events, but am I wrong for setting my own boundaries in response to theirs? I try not to frame my friendships as transactional, but they obviously want something out of me here despite their not inviting me and then avoiding even bringing it up with me until they needed help with covering their honeymoon. Top comments. Not the a-hole. This sounds like a really one-sided friendship and that they are taking your friendship for granted. Why would you keep putting time and energy into them? Opie replies. Like I said, we've been pretty close up until now, and I've happened to have the availability when they need it often enough where we've been close enough before that I didn't mind or feel taken advantage of. John's helped me as well in the past, and try not to hold other people's lives and familial commitments against them, but I was trying to paint a concise picture, given the character limit, of being, I thought, close. This situation, like I said, definitely changed my perspective given the other friends invited, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't making their wedding about me. They approached me after excluding me. So far people seem to agree, which I'm relieved about. Let's call a spade here. Jane's excuse is flimsy. And because her excuse is so flimsy I think she's just a homophobe. Are you John's only gay friend? Opie replies. As far as I'm aware. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my stepdaughter to pay me back for my dress? I have a daughter Ava 18F and a stepdaughter Mia 22F. Mia's mom has primary custody of her, so I only saw her for a few weekends a year growing up, however she went to college near me and my husband, so we are a lot closer now. I have a job at a big fashion company, and we get clothing for free, like if it didn't sell or sample pieces and the rest is donated. When I first started, I got a beautiful silk mini dress that I love and have kept it in very good condition. After having my kids, it is more of a tight fit so I usually pick something more comfortable. It fits Ava perfectly, and she borrows that dress all the time and it looks great on her. Mia asked me to borrow the mini dress for a wedding, and I let her. She came over yesterday for dinner and showed us pictures of her at the wedding, and she looked stunning, but I noticed she had altered the dress. Mia is much shorter than me and Ava, so the dress when she tried it on in front of me was knee length on her, however at the time she insisted it was fine. In the pictures it is a mini dress, which is how it sits on me and Ava. Mia admitted that she got home and preferred how it looks on Ava, so it got altered, however she didn't cut the fabric off, just hemmed it so I should be able to get the dress back, after picking out the stitches. I got upset at Mia, and when she handed me the dress, it would be very hard to get the dress back to its original state. Taking out the stitches could leave holes in the silk and the dress fits more like a long top now. I asked Mia to reimburse me for the dress, and told her I was upset she had stitched and altered it without asking me before. She said she didn't know that she couldn't stitch silk and it was an accident. My husband said Mia made a mistake in asking her to reimburse me for the dress that I got for free, which at its original price is a lot more than she can afford as a college student. He said I shouldn't have let her borrow it if the dress meant so much to me. I accounted for Mia spilling something on the dress or getting it dirty, but I don't think it was fair of her to alter it without asking me, and I can't wear it as a dress anymore. I am quite upset about the dress, so maybe asking her to pay full price is too much, but she is an adult and it wouldn't be fair of me to treat her like a child. Top comments. I think this is an issue where you need to try to undo the modifications with a tailor first with Mia present. Ask Mia for the name of the person who altered it and go talk to them all together about how to get it back. If they can get it back with no holes, then problem solved. If they can't, then Mia needs to be there to hear that and understand the consequences of her actions. Not the a-hole, she is an adult at 22. She borrowed something and through her own actions cannot return it in the same condition it was given to her. Common courtesy and common sense is that she replaces the item. She shouldn't necessarily have to give you the cash. But she should make an effort to resolve the problem as best as possible and get you a replacement at the very least. I'm kind of amazed at the cluelessness that she had it altered without asking you, and then that she was going to give it back still altered. Ask to borrow her car, then give it back to her without doors and with a broken windshield. Not the a-hole. She's 22 and it's common sense to ask before altering borrowed clothes. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not changing how I live for my stepson's girlfriend? My stepson, Ben, 20M, is living with us right now during summer break from college. About a month ago, he asked if his girlfriend from college, Liv, could stay with us the rest of the summer because she is going through a rough time at home. I wasn't fully on board with the idea because we already have our 2 other kids, 11 and 9, in the house and have 4 adults and 2 kids in our space is a lot. My wife has a soft spot for Ben and struggles to say no to him, so my concerns were dismissed and now Liv is living with us until they go back to school. There have been a few issues that have come up since Liv came, pretty much all of which have to do with me. First, one of the big reasons Liv wanted to change her living situation is because her parents are alcoholics. Now, I don't drink every day but I do have alcohol in the house and I like to imbibe with a meal sometimes or have a few cocktails on weekends. This is triggering for Liv to see a parent drinking with kids around. Second, Liv is vegan. We eat a lot of meat in our house. Pretty much every meal has a meat involved. I also hunt, so we eat meat that I have harvested and I have a few mounts on the walls. This makes Liv especially uncomfortable. Ben and Liv sat down with my wife and I this past weekend and offered some suggestions to help make Liv's time here easier. Their first suggestion was that if I want to drink, I should do it in private and not around the kids. I tried to interject when they suggested this, but they asked to let them finish before saying anything. Their next suggestion was to allow Liv to cook vegan meals for us so that we didn't eat so much meat all the time. She offered to do grocery shopping and meal planning to provide vegan meals for us instead of our usual meals. Finally, they asked if I could remove the mounts from the walls of the house until they go back to school in 6 weeks. When they finished, I asked if it was okay for me to talk now and they said yes. I told them that my answer to all of their suggestions is no. I told them that I appreciate Liv's offer to cook for us and she is free to cook a few vegan meals for us during the week if she wants, but we are not going to completely change our diets for one person. But as far as their other suggestions, not happening. My wife spoke up and said that maybe it wouldn't hurt to try their suggestions for a little bit and see how things go. She said it's only 6 weeks and that changing our lifestyles a little bit for a short period wouldn't kill us. I told all 3 of them that if they want to change the way they live, they are free to do so. But they are not going to force me to change the way I live in my own home for a temporary guest. I told them if that means I cook separate meals for myself, so be it. But the mounts stay and if I want a beer or a glass of wine, I'm going to have one. All 3 of them think I am being unreasonable and that they aren't asking too much of me for a short period of time. Top comments. Not the a-hole. This is a great lesson to them that you cannot always control the world around you and you certainly cannot control other people. She is lucky to be a guest and guests should never make the kind of asks she is making. It is not polite or respectful. If your lifestyle is so hard for her, then your home is not the safe place she needs and she should make other arrangements. The biggest issue I see is why does your wife think this is okay? Has she been making some similar requests of you before? P.S. I am taking you at your word you drink lightly. If you drink more than 2 tipples every day, they might have a point. Opie replies. My wife has never made any suggestions like this before. But, like I said, she has a soft spot for Ben. She had him when she was quite young and I think a part of her wants to be the cool mom. As for the drinking, I don't drink often. Some weeks I will drink 2 to 3 days. Sometimes I will go 1 to 2 weeks without a sip. But I have it in the house and if the mood strikes or I want to pair a drink with a meal, I do it. Ben and Liv sat down with my wife and I this past weekend and offered some suggestions to help make Liv's time here easier. Say what now? Liz contributes $0 to this household yet she's making demands about how you should live in the home you pay for. And, why exactly? Why should her feelings matter if yours don't? Not the a-hole. You should feel comfortable in your home, and absolutely nothing you are doing is inappropriate. LMAO, an unwanted guest shows up and tries to change your lifestyle to suit her needs? Ha 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 f no. Her discomforts are hers to deal with. She is in no position to request these changes for her benefit. Absolutely insane that your wife thinks any of that nonsense is reasonable. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole because my niece overheard me ranting about how I want sister to stop dumping her kids at my house? My sister, we call each other sisters but are actually cousins/god siblings, has 2 young kids. She is very socially active and often needs someone to watch her kids. Since I live nearby and the kids like me, it usually ends up being me, even though she has other options. When I was working at a real job, she was reasonable, asking if I could watch them, leaving money for food, and picking them up on time, asking only once or twice a month, if that, so I didn't mind watching them. But now that I'm doing art commissions, she views it as me not doing anything. She kept trying to hint to me that she wanted me to watch her kids and I didn't pick up on it until now because I'm on the spectrum. I don't understand hints. She pretty much stopped talking to me entirely after that and bypasses me and asks her brother, my roommate/cousin, to bring the kids over without telling me, sometimes for multiple days. He leaves the childcare responsibilities to me, saying, that's what their auntie is for. This has been happening every weekend since late May, and it's now July. Today, I wanted to do my workout downstairs where there's space, but I heard the kids screaming and assumed they might be staying over without notice again. I was so frustrated, I ranted to my brother while we were in his room, and my niece overheard, which upset her. All I'd said was, and nobody even told me they'd be here. Which I'm sure still really hurt. Now, my cousins are mad at me for damaging our relationship. Am I the a-hole? I plan to apologize to my niece when she's ready to talk, though I don't know how to explain something this complicated to a kid. Top comments. Not the a-hole. The relationship was being damaged prior to this situation by the way you are being treated. There is no communication with you. That's damaging. There is no consideration of your time. That's damaging. There's blame shifting onto you. That's damaging. It's regrettable that your niece overheard your rant, but the rant itself does not need apology if the concerns you were voicing are valid. Not the a-hole, but your sister sure is. Commission jobs are real jobs and her acting entitled to you watching her kids is incredibly selfish on her part. Honestly, if this is a repeat issue then CPS might need to be involved. Dropping children off for multiple days without prior approval from the person watching the kids is child abandonment. This kid doesn't deserve that and neither do you. Not the a-hole. Next time the kids are over just leave. Don't tell anyone where you are going or for how long. Don't come back until late. See how cousin likes watching them. You may need to set an early alarm so you are gone before they get up. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.